folks, Ariel over here at Nyth, where today what I'm doing is a little bit more cleanup in what's left of the garden. Yes, you are seeing this in real time. We are now into October and it has been snowing, flurrying a little bit today. It's looking pretty gray again, so I'm guessing that we might be about to get some more. But a lot of things now are pretty much just done. The areas that are right empty are the things that were, fully mature, things like potatoes that just died because they were at the end of their life cycle. They basically died of old age. And then some of the things like peas and beans froze. This is my broccoli, which has been very productive for me for all summer long. Lots and lots of little side shoots that I've been eating. But at this point it's so cold, it's not producing anything new. I could pull these out by the root, but their roots are pretty big, and so I don't want to disturb my soil that much. I want to let the little microbes and earthworms and everything that's in there just kind of digest the root up till spring. If there's a stump then that it left in the spring that's too hard that it's in the way of, planting new little seedlings, I'll just pull the stump out then once most of the roots have decomposed. But the tops I'm gonna go put in my compost pile and let the top of the bed here be open so that I can do some fertilizing it with finished compost. So that's what I'm working at right now. And we got a whole ton of questions with the weather and the snow, showing the garden here about, oh, what about the poor things left? Why aren't they covered? And are they gonna all die? And so on. All the stuff that's left here that you're looking at is either a leafy green or a root veggie. So the leafy green stuff, like that's a kind of kale. Behind these kale, there is cabbage, there is Brussels sprouts and such. Those are all very hardy, down to like 10, 9, 8 degrees Fahrenheit into the single digits, well below freezing. I continue to use and pick and harvest those until the snow basically completely obliterates it. They aren't really growing anymore in those temperatures, but they also don't die. They're just kind of sitting there dormant. The leaves aren't really getting any bigger, but they're not going anywhere. So I can continue to use those because they are that cold hardy. They don't need any kind of protection anyway, which is why there's no covers over them, since all the more tender things are already done for. It has continued to be in the teens most of the nights. Like I said, snow flurries off and on. If I talk here long enough, you might see some more snowflakes. I've got a few things like these are leeks and a couple onions left of my smaller ones that I'm still eating up fresh. So I'm continuing to use those up. The things under the ground will be okay till the ground really freezes kind of permanently hard for the winter. It's been freezing hard. It's been taking till about noon or 1 in the afternoon every day to defrost all the ice out of the ground. Not entirely sure it all ever left yesterday, but the ground's not completely frozen solid for the year yet. So I can still be using those things. I'm pushing my limits on that though. So this little row you're seeing is beets and that's carrots. They are still underground and they're fine there for now. Those veggies, as well as a lot of the leafy things, actually get much sweeter as the weather gets cold because the plant starts turning some of its starches into actual sugar, kind of like similar to an antifreeze in its veins, because sugar doesn't freeze very easily, or it has to get a lot colder before it does. So that is the plant kind of protecting itself. So you'll notice I just had beets for dinner last night and some carrots actually, and they're just super sweet. I mean, they taste like candy. They're delicious. But I can't let them be out there till the ground freezes completely rock solid, because I won't be able to get to them and get them out again. So I'm working at using up the rest of those, but I'm continuing to eat them out of the garden. For now, they're basically just storing in the soil. Like the leafy stuff, they're pretty much dormant. They're not really growing at this point. They're just storing there. And that's about it. I guess I got a little lettuce it's kind of froze now. It's more tender than the kales and chards and so on, so it's pretty much done. Probably could pull the tops of that off as I'm cleaning up here and so on. I've got some more cabbage heads to harvest, but they're much like kale, etc. Very hardy in the severe cold. That over there is horseradish. You use the root generally, not the leaves for most things. Those leaves are just going to be there till they get buried under the snow. So it's getting pretty empty, but that's what's here, and that's why none of the stuff that's here is protected anymore by frost covers and such. And somebody has to go, what do I do with them? All my little metal hoops that were over here all summer and the frost covers. I just stack all that stuff behind my compost bin, nice and flat on the ground for the winter, because if I leave the hoops up and such, our snow loads are so great here, they crush everything. I mean, they tear trees apart, they drive fence posts into the ground, they pull entryway arches over, all kinds of stuff. So because I don't want all my stuff to get crushed, it's easier to just pull it out, lay it flat on the ground where it's flat anyway, then the snow weight doesn't do any damage, and when the snow melts in the spring, I can put everything back together and put the metal hoops back over and so on. So that's where all that stuff is and why it's not here anymore, because these plants don't really need it anymore. That, in case you're wondering, is all one little broccoli plant. I mean, not very little. That's all one broccoli plant. That just gotten bushier and bushier as the summer went on, with sending out more and more little side shoots that I continued to harvest and enjoy. So I don't know if the camera can see it, but it is misting, kind of icy rain, I think, at the moment. Looking through the trees toward the west, it looks pretty white. So I'm going to call it quits on this project for now, but that's just what I'm doing out here, tidying up that stuff. And you probably see a lot of the flowers are still blooming around the house. That's why I plant what I do, guys. When people say, why don't you plant this, or why don't you plant that? Because I have learned over the years what will actually survive in my climate. And it's been freezing for, hard every night for weeks now. And I think like the petunia flowers are frozen. The plant is still okay, but it's not going to continue to bloom because it's not going to get back to being warm, I'm sure. But the pansies and snapdragons and such are still blooming away, and some of the herbs are still growing. I'm still able to pick little bits of that fresh and so on. So that's to answer all the questions about what about all the poor things uncovered and freezing out there in the snow in the garden. Hi folks, Ariel over here. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time watching these videos. Hopefully you found something beautiful, educational, interesting, peaceful, relaxing, or useful while you were here. If so, find more videos here, subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and if you like what you found here, feel free to like and share away so that others can benefit as well. You all have a wonderful day.